Assuming that str is a correctly initialized string and that it doesn't start with a space, which of the following best describes the algorithm below? So notice that we have here, we don't know what str is. So whenever they give you something that you don't know what it is, it's a good idea to go ahead and put something on it. So let's say str, and also in the question, notice they're talking about a space being a part of this. So I'm gonna pick a string that has a space so that I can see what's up with the space situation. Why are they mentioning a space in the question? So let's write the string I love CS. So we have the index, and index variable is going to get the index of the space character. Okay, well, right now str is this, so 0, 1, 2, and I could continue the index, but really all I need is the index of. Remember, index of gives you the first one. So index of will give me 1, since the first space is at index 1. So index is 1. Now, in the code, we go into now the next line of code is a while loop. While the index is not a -1, well, index is not a -1, that's true. So while true, I run the code. The code says to print out, what am I gonna print out? I'm printing a substring. Index -1, 1 minus 1, that's 0, till index, which is 1. So that's from index 0, including index 0, up to index 1, but not including index 1. So my output is going to be the letter I, the letter before the space character, because that's what is I index 0. Then that line of code is done, the system print. We're going to go to the next line of code. Now str is going to be replaced. What is it going to be replaced with? Well, a substring starting at index +1. And index +1, in this case, index is 1, 1 plus 1 is 2 this time. So since 1 plus 1 is 2, we're going to do the substring from index 2 all the way to the end. So that's going to be love space CS. And that'll replace the str. So now the I love CS is gone. Now it's just love CS. So this means now the indexing will also be restarting. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, because this is a new string, so it has no indexing. That line of code is done. I have replaced str with the new str. And why I went all the way to the end is because that's the substring with just one input. This substring was 2 input. Okay. The next line of code says the index gets, so we're going to replace index. What we're going to replace it with is the index of space. So I'm going to look for the index of the space, which is now at index 4. So that's the new index value. And I've reached the end of the code inside the while loop. So now that I've reached the end of the code inside that while loop, it is a loop. So I'm going to go back to the condition. I'm going to check, is index not equal to a -1? That's true. So I'm going to run the same code again. I'm going to print the substring of index -1, which is 3, till index, which is 4. So that'll really be just index 3, which is the character right before the space is going to print E. And this is, notice this is a print, not a print ln. So the next is going to print E, and it'll print it right next to it. And then string str is going to be replaced with now the substring index +1. So index right now is 4, 4 plus 1 is 5. So we're going to go from index 5 all the way to the end. So now str is replaced, is just going to be CS. So now that's index 0 and index 1. And then index is now going to be replaced with the index of a space. Well, this time there is no space anymore. So now index will be -1 since there is no space that exists in that new str string. So when we go to the while is false since -1 is equal to -1, and the program stops. So notice that based on this, it will continue to run the code as long as we have a space. And what it'll do is it'll print the character before the space. Okay, this is a very tricky question. This is one that I would probably leave for the end, and if I have time, I would get to it. But you know, this is kind of like the most complex kind of question that you could get on this concept. I would, anytime, a good strategy, you know, for the exam is whenever they don't give you something, like in this case, they didn't give me an STR, I would pick something for it so that I can run the code using a value.